Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a live stream test just to make sure that the internet is working on my. So I have my iPhone, so I can go to the park and do live streams. And yeah, I was hoping that nobody was gonna be here, but you know what? They're here, so I don't care. So sometimes you just have to be like whatever, like. So yeah, I've done a couple of author interviews, and I've done some book reviews, and I like to read, don't get me wrong. I love reading books, but I don't read quite as much. Like, don't push myself to read like I once did. Like a few years ago, I was reading a book like I think every 2 weeks. Like, I really was pushing myself to do that. So I still love reading, but I'm not pushing myself to just read books because I do other things. Like I do a couple of YouTube channels, and I'm trying to get back into doing artwork again. And I think when you have other hobbies that you do, or like you do a blog, like you don't have time to just read books. Like I know some people, like that's what they want to do. They spend all their free time reading a book, and it's like a contest to see like how fast they can get it read and just get it done. But so for me, like I do love to read, but I'll tell you what kind of slowed me down was that I want to digest what I'm reading books lately. So it's not that I don't like fiction, but I read a lot of fiction I didn't like a few years ago. Like I just really appreciated historical fiction, and some people do write really good historical fiction novels. Like I like Dia Katz's books, and I love a lot of Lisa C's books. Although I will say, Dreams of Joy, I was not as big of a fan of Dreams of Joy because just like the twists and turns that the script took, and sometimes I feel like there's just too much contriving with the historical fiction. So I decided to get back into just reading historical texts because that's actually what I did with my degree and whatnot. So yeah, when you read a history text, it's just better. Like you learn something, and it's not like context. Like I want to digest it. So I'll tell you the book that I'm reading right now. It's actually about. It's called Horde. It's about the Mongolian hordes and just about how, like, Mongolian nomads had such a large impact on Central Asia and Western Europe, and people forget about that. And the Seljuks, actually, like the Seljuk Empire and the Ottoman Empire, also based a lot of their administrative policies on Mongolian Empire, like the way that different Mongols ran parts of their empire. So it's very fascinating. And people think like things aren't interconnected, but when you start studying history, you start to see like the connections, the interconnectivity. And some people just like they think like, oh, everything's isolated, there's no connectivity, but there definitely is. So I'm reading this book, Horde, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read it, like just sail through it to like get through it as fast as I can. I'm like, no, I'm taking my time on it. So anyway, that's what I'm reading, and I don't push myself like to read a book like I once did. Like some people are like, "Oh my gosh, I have to read the show. I have to watch the show. I have to read this book." But I'm like, "No, because I have other things." Actually, at this point, I think I'm done watching shows. I don't really want to watch a lot of shows anymore. Like, and I just want to work on my hobbies. Like, in fact, I've decided I don't think I'm watching any more shows. I might watch a little bit of The King's Letters because we're gonna do a live stream about it on Friday. But after that, I'm kind of done watching shows. I don't have like even with Netflix, even though there's a lot of really good Korean series, I just don't have time for it. Like I might read a book, but I'm probably not going to watch a lot of shows because if you want to spend your time doing things that are constructive and interesting, and like if you want to actually like, I don't know, like work on art projects or have a blog, I don't think like you have time to be watching a lot of television. Like personally, I just I get bored with a lot of television after a while, and I feel like people never put limitations on how much TV they're watching. They're like, "Oh my gosh," like, well, a lot of people complain that, "Oh my gosh, social media is taking over my life," or "I watch too much television," but you have complete control over that. You just stop watching it, and I kind of have gotten to the point I'm like, yeah, like when I have free time, I'm just gonna work on an art project. That's pretty much where I am right now. So anyway, like I just thought I would do this little live stream to make sure my connectivity is working and all that good stuff. And we're gonna also pre-record another live stream with Aya Cats on her channel, but we'll talk in a bit. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.